can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Happy holidays.
Hi there. Happy holidays.
Yeah, right. Who said?
If you say so.
Go ahead on. Be on bad self. I laugh. I just, sometimes you do have to just laugh. You and I watched the funniest movie, and I literally did LOL a little bit, Christmas with the Cranks. And that was such a fun movie. And at the end, it had such a heartwarming turn of events, and I encourage you to find something this holiday that even when you can't participate because of whatever reason,
or you choose not to participate. Yeah,
it's like that. That's my whole deal. It's even though in those places that you find something that blesses your heart, blesses your soul, and creates a funny bone moment for you. I overdo during this time of year stand-up comics. I overdo it. Whether it's on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, I watch comedy like nobody's business. I literally, and if it makes me laugh, movies that make me laugh, and people ask me things about that, but I read a story one time. First of all, hi, Teri, how are you?
I'm great.
This is what happens when I get here early enough to have coffee.
I'm sipping water and I'm like, dang, she is on a roll. I need some kind of caffeine beans or something over here.
I know, I've got some water too, but thank you to Robin, my friend Robin, who gave me this beautiful butterfly cup. And y'all, I just laughed because I just jumped right on into it. But anyway, it is the happy holidays. And so for some, it's not happy. For some,
it's the holidays.
Yeah, it's just, oh Lord, let it, I'll be honest with you. People say, what did you do? What did you do? And I'm going, I slept for 2 days. I slept like I was sick.
Well, your body probably needed it.
Yeah, it really did, and I'm still not quite on my horse yet, but I'm getting there, Yeah. But today, I thought we could open the can of worms when excuses hold you back. People get stuck. People get stuck and they go, well, I'm stuck because, the arsenine person that I was involved with left me. Or I'm stuck because I had a really bad parenting. I'm stuck because I lost my job. I'm stuck because, and every one of those things can be true, and you can still get unstuck. Yes, we can take our excuses and stop making them chains, but make them catapults.
Well, because we're never stuck.
Oh, well, there's that.
I mean, we're never stuck. If we were, let's just get, in the realm of we're never stuck. As if you dial it all the way back to if your lungs are breathing and your heart is beating and your limbs are moving, you're not stuck. You might feel emotionally paralyzed in the pocket that you're in life. You might feel like financial constraints have gotten you twisted up. Holidays bring that around for people because it's like, I don't have enough money to do X, Y, Z. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. I don't have that. I challenge people all the time to look at their circumstances and to look at why they're doing that. Why do you feel stuck? And they'll say, well, because I can't, blah, 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 blah. Well, then look at why you need to do that. Is it expectation? Is it obligation? Is it your own perfectionism? Sometimes you do holidays a little differently. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do 365 a little differently. And that's okay. It's not always pleasant. It's not always easy, but you're never stuck because your brain is always tell your brain you're stuck when you're laying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and your brain blah, 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 it's not stuck. In fact, it's working pretty well.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is exactly the sound of the brain on stuck. The brain is never stuck. I love that. Elizabeth, happy Wednesday. Joyce is with us. Joyce, you got here early. Good,
yes,
good,
hello,
good.
lady.
Elizabeth said, same. I think I slept 90% of last Friday and Saturday. There was a lot of sleeping going on. There are always options, Elizabeth says. Maybe not ones we like, but there are always options.
And sometimes we find ourselves in challenging positions. We don't always do things the way we've always done them. Like we have traditions and they get changed sometimes. And it doesn't mean you have to look at what the attachment to that is. What's the attachment to it? And also if it's a mindset of, well, I just can't, because there's accountability there in that stuck. There's a reason. I've asked this question to people before, and some people will recognize this question, when they say, I'm just stuck. And my answer or my question to them is, what are you getting out of this?
You asked that of me. I remember that. I did not like that moment. It stung a little, as you like to say, but it's true. When you ask yourself and you focus on what am I getting out of it? There's always an answer. There's a reason why you don't do something.
And sometimes it's not, it's easy to use the superficial things. Oh, I just don't have the money. Oh, I just don't have the, right? That stings a bit. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I just can't do that. I won't do that. And it's like, well, okay. But if there are options that sometimes we don't know are taking us to something better, healthier, more fulfilling, and we choose to stay in that emotional stuck cycle, then we're the reason we're stuck.
Oh, y'all. If we choose to stay in that emotional, say that again, if we choose to stay in the emotional stuck cycle, then we're the
reason we're stuck. Well, we're not choosing to be stuck, but we're the reason we're stuck.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes, we can go, well, if you're the reason, then you're choosing it. But sometimes, whatever your belief system, whatever you're wrestling with, trying to make work for you, oftentimes perspective is a beautiful thing, right? And sometimes we look at perspective with a cracked lens. And so it looks like we can't change or shift, but it's also that it's not necessarily, yes, everything boils down to a choice, but sometimes if your belief system is that you really are doing everything you can do, then you're staying stuck in that cycle. And sometimes you have to choose to hear the stuff that you don't want to hear in order to move.
Ain't that the truth? Well, we're in a season where I don't care who you are. A year is coming to a close that has gone waste. I don't know about you, but this year seems like it has flown by in just warp speed. I have not gotten used to writing 2023 on anything. I mean, I missed the whole year. I don't know how that happened, but I just kind of was like, what? How did this happen? And remember my grandfather said, the older you get, the faster time moves. Because when you're a kid, there's a song that I was a writer on called Forever Every Day that Leanne Womack cut. And it is true, because when you're a kid, every day is long. Minutes are long.
And a lot of times that is because the real time that we're in it, whether it's joyful or traumatizing, the minutes are long. But for kids, particularly, there's something that we're, we don't have first off, our brain isn't fully formed. So we're kind of like, gnats. We don't have a real conception of time and everything. As we become adults, I see it happen with young adults that are like 17, 18, 19 years old. I see that start to shift because they're in that place of like, ooh, I got to make money. I got to know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I got to do this. So the brain starts tapping into those other parts of it that are like, oh, okay, life is hard. And it's like, life can be challenging, but let's not throw the whole life into the package of hard, because it's not all hard. But as we become older, there are just more stressors, and stressors tend to wear our immune and emotional system down. So we're always trying to catch up. And when you're trying to catch up, the wheel's just going faster and faster. So the holidays come faster, the anniversaries come faster, the reminders come faster.
I do know. That's a really interesting perspective. When I was, it made me think about driving on a road trip, and there was a little one who used to travel a lot with me, and Will would pop up from the back, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And he had no concept of time. 2 hours meant nothing. So I'd say 4 more SpongeBobs, because he had a little DVD player. 4 more SpongeBobs. Okay. And we measure time differently. And now, because when we're an adult and we think about there's a little cartoon on and you think whatever, a kid goes, okay, 4 more SpongeBobs. I can do that. And that's kind of how we can start looking at our time. Oh, by the way, Shar just joined us. Hi, Shar. Good to have you
there.
Let's talk about the excuse of a trauma. I don't have people in my life. I don't let people close because people have in the past hurt me to the extent I can no longer trust. That is a detriment to us moving forward, because people need people. That's just how we're wired. It's how we're made. Can we live without people? Yes. Can we thrive without people? Not so much, because that's the spirit of us. Dogs need their pack, and despite what they say, cats actually do better with someone too.
Well, egocentric people can thrive without people. They can thrive with people on the skirts. Like they can thrive with friends. They can thrive with, they don't necessarily have to have close, intimate relationships. They can thrive with just enough on the outskirts to keep them going, because they don't like to be seen from the center. So that's one way. Now, most people just by nature, even if they are wounded from childhood or adulthood, they want to be in a pack of some sort.
Yeah.
And I say this to clients all the time. It's pretty selfish to want to be in a pack of some sorts if you're not willing to do your own work, because you'll get in a pack of people or with a person, and then somewhere down the line, you blow it all up because you haven't done your work.
Okay. I want to open that can of worms. But we hear Elizabeth says, I used to be that way. I never let anyone in because I knew if I did, I would get hurt. It's lonely. That's a thing that people don't admit to. They go, I'm depressed. I'm whatever. I'm this, I'm that. And they have this list of things. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. We use that in some of the fellowships that I'm a part of, that halt, hungry. Don't ever get too hungry, angry, lonely, tired. But those all are sometimes symptoms of loneliness.
But that's also how our society has gotten into a place where they are consumed and can sit for hours and scrolling on their phone. They are consumed with workaholic. They work all the time. They're consumed with FOMO, fear of missing out. And that is, you can be a really lonely person and be a really busy person and not
hell
be
yeah.
connected.
Yes. I mean, guilty. I didn't even know, and I didn't admit to loneliness until I started reaching out. But it took me a long time. I mean, I said no to everything and everyone because, my picker was broken in my mind.
Yeah.
Tim joins us. Good
Hey, Tim.
Wednesday afternoon. They're my sweet, amazing ladies. Love y'all. We love you too, Tim. And Tim is somebody who a believer in love. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him too. But I think as we start moving into those things, calling them what we see them is part of the work. Calling loneliness, where does it stem from? Where's the anger stemming from? What are we putting off because of a past trauma? The phrase "do your work." Can we unpack that a little bit? What is that? We hear self-care, but I'm talking about work.
Well, doing our work requires us to assess why we feel the way we feel. Now, a lot of people will be in, whether it's family, work, intimate relationships of some sort of situationship, and you're in that, and something doesn't go the way you want it to go. Somebody shows up late, or somebody blows a presentation, or somebody says something that you took the wrong way. If you're not doing your work, then what you do is you harbor that like little squirrels during the winter. You just collect all the nuts. Yes, collect them all, And then what happens is you end up being overwhelmed. You don't quite know where your tipping point is, but you've collected so much stuff that something's off, but you don't know what. And then, unfortunately, your actions or reactions will leave, they shift your life in some way, shape, or form. And most of the time when that happens, people are real quick to point the finger at somebody else because they haven't done work. We all have work to do. Hell, I'm still doing work. We all have work to do. We have accountability to do. And sometimes that requires you to do your work and keep your mouth shut while you're doing it. Do your work. A client said to me one time, well, it just bothers me what other people think. And I was like, well, what they think is really none of your business. Not my quote, but it's true. And, we have to do our work. And anybody that says, oh, I've done my work, I'm good. I can check. I'm good. Okay. Not happening.
Good on
we
you.
can do our work, and we can be in a really settled place. And very quickly you can find yourself unsettled because something has happened, but when that lonely bug creeps in, you got to be careful not to just grab the first vice, the first person, the first chug, sip, slip, snort, toke, whatever it is to make you not feel. Because if you're doing that, if you're pulling out your Visa card every time you feel lonely, you're going to have bigger problems than being lonely.
True.
Then you're going to be stuck in financial debt, and you have to know your journey with that. So, you have to be willing to take care of yourself. And sometimes we're not in that space. We don't want to. We're mad. We're angry. We're lonely. And we don't want to do it. And there's no judgment for that.
Joyce brings up a really, really important scenario. I feel lonely sometimes around bunches of people. That's the worst. It's the truth. I mean, and we are going into what I call it's happiest season of all. It could be the loneliest season of all for a lot of people because Joyce, I don't know you, but what I can see is the way that you participate. I can intuit that you are the person who's there for everybody. You show up at the parties, you show up at the events, and you bring cookies, and you are the person who's there. But who is there for Joyce? And I have been that person, Joyce, and I have shown up at the events, and you have to get to the point where, for me, I had to get to the point where I allowed people to show up for me. That was the part when I did my work. I did not allow people to show up for me. Why? Because I was so darn efficient.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times we don't want people to show up for us because we're afraid they'll see us. And if we don't show up for ourselves, if our identity is wrapped up in who we're with or what we can do for somebody or how much trauma we've had or, whatever, then we're not in that place of being able to fully be accountable. And listen, accountability, nobody really likes to take accountability. None of us really are like, yeah, I did that. That was horrible. But you have to be willing to do it. Now, you might brush up against other people that are like, you're not, whatever. You have to stay your course.
Joyce says, yep, Devon, you must know more than you think. No, I have no clue. I tell you, when I tell you that I intuit stuff, I intuit it based on your answers and based on your participation here. I just wanted other people to know we haven't really met, but you can feel those things when you are, and a lot of people who show up here are that person. We show up and we are so damn efficient that we can efficient ourselves out of allowing someone else to bless us.
Right. And that does put us in a stuck place, and not doing the work that we need to do keeps us in that stuck place. And you can go back and read, I have my own journals from when I was younger, and I knew my cycles of being stuck. I have communication, with people all the time, and you can go back and read emails or texts or whatever from, however long. If there's someone that's close to you, then it's someone that you've got years of it. And you can go back and you can read and you can see the cycles, and you have to ask yourself, what do I do what am I willing to do to change this? And the willingness means that we have to be accountable. And there's a level of acceptance there's a level of acceptance that says, if I accept the fact that I've got work to do and that I feel stuck, now I have to take that mask off that I'm so good at everything that I do. I have to take the mask off that I'm so good at my job. I have to take the mask off that I'm so good at being a mom, or I'm so good at being a partner, or I'm so good at being a friend, or I'm so good at being whatever. It requires other people to see our blemishes, our humanness. And until we allow people in to see our humanness, we will be emotionally stuck. Because otherwise we're putting out a bill of sale that's not really who we are, it's who we want to be. And we can only carry that plate so long. And then the people closest to us pay the price.
Shar says, totally get that. Being lonely when lots of friends are there. Had huge anxiety in July. Don't know why. I was with friends and lots of people, but I felt so alone. Those questions come up when you're in those things, Shar. And that's when those questions come up, it means we need to start seeking the answer. That's part of doing the work. Why is it? Elizabeth says, it's not easy to look at the role we play and what's going on around us. If something happens in life, I somehow have a role in it. I just need to figure out what that is. Brilliant.
Amen. And there's also a difference in being lonely and being alone. I hear a lot of people say, I'm just alone. And I challenge that with them. Are you alone? And they'll start to make a list of people that they have that they can call on, or people that they know that are good friends of theirs, like truly good friends, like not these people that ghost you all the time and that kind of stuff, but like really good friends. They're a good circle. And they start to realize, I'm not alone. But you can be in a room of people and be lonely. because loneliness is an inside job. It's not about the number of people that are outside us.
Y'all write that down. Loneliness is an inside job. That's an important thing to remember, because that's that quality, that thing that you go, okay, when I'm starting to do my work, that's where the work is. Elizabeth said, huge difference. I'm not lonely, but I love being alone at times.
Right. And a lot of times people can roll that loneliness all the way back to being a child. And it can stem from, and no shade to parents here, but it can stem from a parent that was unavailable. It can stem from an emotionally unavailable parent, a physically unavailable parent, a mentally unavailable parent, a financially unavailable parent. And so what happens is, as children, when our brains are forming and we're supposed to be in our pack, but we don't feel like we're a part of that pack, then we start to feel like the lone wolf. We feel like we're the one that has to do it all. We've got to work the job. We've got to pay the bills. We've got to help mom. We've got to take care of the siblings. We've got to take care of, and before you know it, that becomes the identity of who we are. And we are lonely. We are lonely. There's a loneliness. There's an emptiness inside us. It's not outside us.
Okay, full disclosure. I'm going to just air my dirty laundry right here. When we do things and we work really hard to make the party the best, we are so efficient. We show up. Everything is beautiful. I did the centerpieces. Oh, yes. Oh, I did that. Yes. And the lights are perfect. Everything is perfect. And we don't get anything back from anybody who came to that party to say, oh my God, you did a great job. Oh my Lord, how great this is. We have just planted resentment seeds, because the reason that we leave disappointed when we don't hear back for something amazing we did is because we did it so we could get that outer validation.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's when we plant our garden of resentment seeds.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it because I just love doing centerpieces. That is the joy of my life. I love doing centerpieces. And you do it out there and you go, well, if you get a thank you, great. But if you don't, you go, dang, that was so much fun.
Right.
I just thought, there are so many times that we plant our own resentment seeds. When we do something with a subconscious desire to get a payoff emotionally, to fill a void that is within us, we will be left lonely. And sometimes I think we bring loneliness on ourselves.
Well, if we take it, if we roll it back to our littles, and that's something that is a very familiar thing to us, and our outside, our identity is wrapped up in that we can feel very stuck in it, because it's like, you can, if you do the thing and you don't get all the outside, affirmations and applaud, and people, I know people who will go on for hours about how much people love them. And to me, when I hear that, when I hear someone telling me how much other people love them and how good they are at what they do and how this and how that, that is a level of insecurity, because people don't generally have to advertise how good they are at something. Like you don't walk in a room and advertise how good you are. I mean, how many songwriters have you worked with over the years, or artists that you've worked with, that says, I am so good at this. I mean, if I wasn't doing this, nobody could do this because I do it the best. That is like a 6-year-old kid going, I can turn the best cartwheel. You watch. I do it better than you. And then if they don't get someone going, wow, you did the best cartwheel ever, they get upset. They get mad. They take the hula hoop and they get the hell out of Dodge. They don't want to stay and play anymore. And so that's our stuckness. It goes back to loving that person inside us that never got that love. And sometimes if you never got the love, then how the hell are you supposed to love them? You do your work.
You do your work. You figure out how to not plant the resentment seeds and expecting someone else to give you your response. You look at your response and go, this was a job well done. Elizabeth says, ooh, girl, resentments grow and grow. I do stuff now because I truly enjoy it. If I have resentment, I need to look at why. Resentments built up will lead me back to the bottle. Knowing that is huge.
It is huge. And it doesn't matter what that, again, you know, Elizabeth, what that vice is. You know, if it's shopping, if it's sex, if it's porn, if it's dating, if it's drugs, if it's working, if it's arguing, it will lead you back to whatever that thing is that makes you not feel.
Joy says, yes, been there, done that. I try to make everything perfect for holidays, regular dinners, etc. It leaves me empty if nobody says anything. You're right. I do think I got this from my mother, who I always wanted her approval. Joyce, you just did work. You just did work. That's
the aha moment.
It's like, oh my gosh. And we do repeat behaviors that we see working for somebody else. Or not working for somebody else, and we want to do it better somehow, that we can get a different outcome by doing something exactly the same as we've seen.
Right.
Now, just remember that we will repeat actions we see and how we are raised. We will repeat those actions, whether we want to or not. Sometimes our subconscious has a way of going, okay, here's how you can get that approval.
And sometimes that approval, you also got to look at who you're looking for approval from. You know, who are you seeking approval from? Now, if you are a gambler and you hang around people that gamble all the time, but you really want to start a business and you want to thrive and have money to invest and all of this, are you going to get there by hanging out in your circle of people who are gambling all the time? If you're a chronic complainer but you want to be a more positive person, are you going to thrive in that environment of chronic complainers? If you want to get healthy physically and you look around and you recognize that everybody you hang out with is, no shade to people who eat pizza for breakfast, but if you're eating pizza for breakfast and watching 15 hours of Netflix and scrolling the other 10 hours, or 9 hours, then are you going to achieve that? It takes courage to shift into not being in a stuck place. It takes courage to look at why we feel lonely. It takes courage to look at why we can't take accountability for our roles in parts of life. And it takes work to get there.
It does. Shar gives, I love doing for people, volunteering, getting things done. I don't look for praise. I just do it. Nobody has to give me praise. It's nice to get noticed, but I don't expect it. Now, that's an amazing place to be. For me, I always said I didn't expect it. But when I didn't get it, I felt lonely.
Because
and that's what I took home in my little suitcase. I go, wow. I mean, I felt invisible. I felt invaluable. And I took that home with me and I just packed it up in a little suitcase. And I said, and I'm still an overdoer.
Do you know why you packed it up in a little suitcase?
Well, it got bigger.
Well, it started out a little suitcase because your littles can't carry adult-sized suitcases.
Oh, okay, y'all. I just got big tears in my eyes. Exactly right.
Yeah. You packed it in a little suitcase because it's a little that get their feelings hurt. It's not our adult self that gets the feelings hurt. Like when I hear people say, I just need you to understand. I just need you to hear me. That's not an adult. That's our little saying, I need this. I need this.
It just hit Joyce too. Oh my gosh. That's it. And Candy joins us. Hi, Candy. She's in Belgium
Candy.
now. Relate to feeling lonely and invisible when people don't recognize my efforts. It's more than that. It's that I tried really hard, and I know exactly. I remember a moment when my mom was teaching me and teaching my sister how to make the bed. I am almost 3 years older than my sister, but my sister can make a bed like a military person. I mean, she makes a bed, and I don't do anything like a military person. I live like I'm a butterfly. That's why my friend Robin gave me that thing with the butterflies. And this is so huge because that little is still going, did I do this right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I do this right? Oh my God. Elizabeth says, that's so huge. My littles definitely have a suitcase they carry around.
Mm-hmm.
That's, and Shar says, I don't expect praise. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to hear you did a great job, but if you don't expect it, you won't hurt. For me, I just had to get really honest because I would leave an event and be, my first thing was, I'd get pissed. I'd get mad. I mean,
that's your teenage little.
Yeah.
How dare them? I don't need them.
Uh-huh.
Who cares what they think? That's that little. That's the 15-year-old little.
Wow. Y'all, this was just a breakthrough moment. I'm just glad y'all came to my therapy session. I hope. See, Joyce says, let me see what. There it is. It just moved too fast for me. Praise is not really what I'm after, but I want to feel appreciated. Joyce, I feel a sisterhood right there. And I'm going to tell you, you need to appreciate yourself. That's where things started to change for me. And then I started letting people bless me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's going to be some times when you're going to be really disappointed, Joyce, because you're going to let people bless you and it ain't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
People will let you down sometimes. But when they don't, wrap her up in that thing, get you some new people. If you are constantly let down by people, you need better people. And they're out there. They're out there. And Char says, amen. Yeah.
We all have seasons that come through life, and sometimes we're caught off guard by the turn of events, by the swirling and whirling, that go. I can hear Elf in my head where he's talking about the swirling and whirling candy cane lane or whatever. And I'm like, it's the swirling and whirling that can catch us off guard. And we are always always going to be subject to being triggered. And when we are triggered, we do not show up in our best self. But if you have done any level of work and you show up in a not so great self, then immediate accountability for your role in whatever to get you unstuck emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, is your responsibility. If you can't do it on your own because you don't know how, not I can't do it, I just can't do it, it's too hard. But if you can't do it on your own because you simply don't know how, then reach out and get guidance or assistance from someone. If you choose not to do it because you just really get off on being a victim, well, then get on that horse and ride it. I mean, if that's your thing. But people see that. And no one is ever always the victim. Even the victim plays a role.
Oh, y'all.
So
that's some deep stuff right there. Elizabeth says, I try hard, not always successfully, to let my people know that I appreciate them. We can learn to give to others what we sometimes need ourselves. I love that. I love that. And Joyce and Shar are both talking about doing what they do to please God and what he has for us and living in that. I'm going to talk to y'all real quick. I know we're going over time, but Mary's and Martha's. There's this beautiful story about Mary and Martha. They go to an event with Jesus. Let's just say it's an after church event. And Martha's back there in the kitchen and she is working, she is working, she is working. And she looks out there and Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet, just listening, talking to him, just loving it. And Mary is just spending time and just relishing in that moment. And Martha is back in the kitchen going, I have slaved to make these biscuits. And dadgummit, I'm bringing this stuff out. And she has all this, her resentment seeds are just piling up. And I think about the Marys and the Marthas. But what does our Creator want most of all? Fellowship with us. He wants our joy. He wants our happiness. He does not want us planting resentment gardens. Okay, I'll stop preaching now. But he wants this connection. And we can do, but we don't do without just loving the people that we're with and being loved by the people that we're with. All right. See, we got all these people who are sending appreciations. We got a whole thing going on. As I love it because y'all take off in the rooms and y'all are just here with us, and then y'all are all supporting each other. I love it. Char says, I have a friend that does not, but she always expects praise, and if she don't get the praise, she gets upset.
Well, that probably goes back to her littles. You know, I think that, you know, it goes back to something that I know I've used with my clients a lot, and we've used it on here a couple of times. And that is to make that list of people that you would do anything for, to make that list of people that you appreciate and you're grateful for and that you love. And to make that list and start with writing 5 people down and then add 3 people to it. And then add 2 or 3 more people to it. When I work with clients, they're like, well, can I put my pets on here? And I'm like, sure. They'll have a list of 30 or 40 people. They'll go to second and third cousins and the postman and, you know, they'll go to everybody. And I really do like them and I would do anything for them. And then we stop. And once the whiteboard is full, the simple question is, where are you on this list? Where are you on this list? Because you should be number 1.
I would
because if you're not number 1 on your list, and this is what society has not taught us. Society has said, don't put yourself first. Don't be greedy. Don't be the center of attention. Don't be. But what we've missed out on is that if we don't put ourselves first and take care of ourselves, we cannot effectively take care of other people, because what we're doing is we're taking care of other people and we're expecting them to thank us, to appreciate us, to whatever, because that's the pseudo appreciation of us taking care of ourselves. And then what we do is we say, well, I just do it because I just love it. And it's like, well, maybe. But if you loved yourself and you appreciated yourself and you put yourself on that list, you would be surprised at how much you would see that you don't actually have to have the high fives and the kudos and again, like Char said, it's great to get that. When you get it, it's like icing on the cake, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. That's so kind. But you're not intentionally set out to go. You're not standing over in the corner watching everybody go, well, they look like they like it. They better come tell me they like it because I need to know they like it. Somebody better let me know they like this. You know, you're not looking for that because you're already not lonely inside, because you're doing it from a place of you are birthing gifts for others from a place of fulfillment. So you're not giving them something that they need to then in turn give you something back.
Elizabeth says, my role in being a victim. I only thought I was seen when I talked about my victim status. Ooh, that's big. I mistook people feeling sorry for me as actually seeing me. It felt good at the time.
Right.
To me. That's huge. That's a big aha moment as well. And Candy says, what happens if you love and appreciate someone one-sidedly? Is it okay to cross them off the list if they keep letting you down and hurting you? Well, absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's that movie. I watched this movie and I was so mad because I was in that situation. He's just not that into you.
Yeah.
The movie that was like, yeah.
People have to be clear with what your with what your intentions are. If you have, you got somebody in your circle that, and it could be family member, it could be whomever, you have to be able to know how to set boundaries. And sometimes, I mean, I've had people in my life that are like, well, I just, I get text all the time from clients that are asking questions or whatever. And, and sometimes people are like, well, I need an answer now. I'm like, well, wait a minute, and people will be upset with you. Well, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't do whatever it is, or they get demanding. And it's like, you've got to be able to know what you're bringing to the table is authentic. And you've got to trust that whoever you are, friend, family, coworker, whomever it is, they're doing their work to show up in an authentic place as well. So yes, sometimes you're going to be in a victim place because it's going to feel good to be there, but you got to look at the people that are feeding you from that place, because they're feeding you because they're feeding themselves by feeding you. So you're staying in a cycle. If your expectations are higher than what someone else's is, then you got to have an open conversation about that. You got to set boundaries. You got to have open communication. You've got to be able to set boundaries, lovingly and gently tell people what you need and how you feel. Some of these people, I've said this to people before, you might be a 10-gallon person. You need 10 gallons of attention, appreciation, affection, all that stuff. And you might be partnered up with a 5-gallon person. All they can give you is 5 gallons. And I don't mean partnered. It could be romantic. It could be friendship. It could be whatever. But all they have is 5-gallon capacity. So if you get pissed off because you require 10 gallons and they're not giving you everything you need, well, that's not their fault. That's something for you to look at inside yourself. And if a 5-gallon person doesn't work, then maybe you need to pick up 2 other 2.5 gallons or another 5-gallon. You need to enrich yourself by knowing what it is you need and expanding on that, but also being realistic with what others have to give.
I love this close. This is our last comment. Shar says, glad I popped in. I must go off. I'm off to cook for bingo. Love to you all. God bless Mr. Ron. I love you, Shar. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, happy cooking.
And that's a perfect cherry on the cake. It is perfect. Y'all, I've got so many ideas for shows coming up through the holidays. Be sure that you're here to join us on Wednesdays. We're here with Launch Date. You can follow, subscribe, and share. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can find us out there. You can just Google Launch Date and we're there. So
we are there. And don't forget, if you're in the Nashville area next Wednesday, not today.
And Janet said, so enjoyed this. Thank you. Glad to have you, Janet. That was a new name on our list.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. If you're in the Nashville area, next Wednesday, we're going to be doing the stocking stuffer. So it's the 13th annual. I guess technically it would be the 11th annual because it didn't do it last year or the year before for other reasons. But going to be doing it again this year. It's going to be at my office. So if you're in that area and you want to come, it's from 6 to 7:30. You can bring something. You can bring a shareable with people that want to come and just have a little snack while you're stuffing stockings. But basically, it's stockings for the shelterless. We're going to do a few dog stockings and we're going to do human stockings. And so you'll come, you'll stuff the stockings, you'll take the stockings with you. And then as you go throughout the next few weeks or whatever, if you see someone that you can bless, or maybe they can bless you by a simple thank you, then share them as you will. So that's out there. And I will post that on both of our pages so that people see that and they have that information. And it can be a drop in.
And it's 100 stockings. So if you want to bring some items to put in there, just in a lot of 100, you can actually, and you taught me this and I thought it was really cool. Amazon has wish list for the homeless, and they have them in bigger lots and bulk lots, and you can find them, and they're pretty easy.
Right. And I would say this, not because not to control things, but if you decide you do want to come and you do want to bring something, if you'll reach out to me and just let me know what it is you might be bringing, because we have a lot of stuff already. So we don't want to go 200 when we have 100 on something. So, but all of that to say, have you said everything you got to say today?
I did.
I'm fixing to put a bow and a ball on it and get us on down the road.
Get us on down the road.
We appreciate each and every one of you choosing to share your time and your energy with us. And we hope you had a great Thanksgiving holiday. And we hope that as this next month unfolds, you prioritize yourself and do some good for yourself. Because if you're doing that for yourself, then you won't believe exponentially how much lighter you feel. So, and if you're in a heavy pocket, just be gentle with yourself in that pocket. There's no rush to get through that. Seasons have all kinds of different weighted blankets to them. So just be easy with yourself. If you find yourself super depressed, anxious, reach out to a professional that can guide you and help you with that, or talk to your primary care doctor about that. And until we see you next week, I will just say increase the peace. See ya.